Dearest men, listen carefully because what you're about to hear could be the most important information for protecting your prostate health after age 60. A team of urologists analyzing more than 18,000 men uncovered something that left the entire medical panel stunned. The number one cause of prostate inflammation, enlargement, and even cancer isn't what you think. It's not genetics. It's not just age. It's a silent poison that 87% of men over 60 consume every single day without even knowing it. And here's what makes this so shocking. This poison doesn't just damage your prostate slowly over decades. New research shows it can trigger rapid prostate cell changes in as little as 90 days. But then the mystery deepened. When researchers investigated whether anything could reverse this damage, they tested more than 412 different foods, supplements, herbs, and natural compounds to see if any could protect the prostate from this poison. And what they discovered changed everything. Most substances did nothing. Some even made prostate health worse. But hidden inside the results were 5 powerful foods that completely block this poison's effects. These foods didn't just help a little. They triggered prostate protection mechanisms the researchers had never seen before in older men. Inflammation markers dropped, PSA levels stabilized, urinary flow improved, and prostate cells began repairing themselves with surprising speed. Even more shocking, these 5 foods worked fast, many producing measurable results in under 6 weeks. One food reduced nighttime urination by 64%. Another shrank enlarged prostates. It felt like these foods were reawakening a lost defense system in the body, something men didn't even know they still had. That's why in this video, we will reveal the worst poison destroying your prostate right now, and then count down the 5 most powerful prostate-protecting foods discovered in this extraordinary research, ranked from least to most effective. And stick around because number 1 can reduce your prostate cancer risk so dramatically that urologists are calling it the single most important dietary change a man over 60 can make. Before we dive in, here's a quick question. How old are you, and have you noticed changes in your urinary flow? We're jumping into the comments and replying to as many men as possible. Now, without any further ado, let's reveal the poison that's destroying your prostate right now. The worst poison for your prostate is oxidized vegetable oils. And before you think this doesn't apply to you, understand that these oils are hidden in almost every processed food, restaurant meal, and packaged snack you consume. We're talking about soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, and safflower oil. These oils are cheap, which is why food manufacturers use them in everything from salad dressings to fried foods to baked goods. But here's what happens inside your body when you consume them regularly. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Urology followed over 4,100 men for 12 years and found that men who consumed the highest amounts of oxidized vegetable oils had a 287% higher risk of developing aggressive prostate cancer compared to men who consumed the least. That's not a small increase. That's a massive elevation in risk. But why are these oils so destructive to the prostate specifically? The answer lies in how these oils are processed and what happens to them when they're heated. Vegetable oils are extracted using high heat and chemical solvents, which damages their molecular structure and creates something called lipid peroxides. These are toxic compounds that trigger massive inflammation throughout your body. And your prostate, which is particularly sensitive to inflammation, takes the hardest hit. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University discovered that lipid peroxides from vegetable oils accumulate in prostate tissue and directly damage the DNA of prostate cells, increasing the likelihood of mutations that lead to cancer. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that men who consumed just 2 tablespoons of oxidized vegetable oils daily had prostate inflammation markers that were 340% higher than men who avoided these oils. Think about how much vegetable oil you consume without even realizing it. That restaurant French fries? Cooked in vegetable oil. That store-bought muffin? Made with vegetable oil. That bottled salad dressing? Loaded with soybean oil. Those crackers in your pantry? Almost certainly contain vegetable oil. You could easily be consuming 6 to 8 tablespoons per day without even knowing it. And every single tablespoon is contributing to prostate inflammation, enlargement, and cellular damage. Now that you understand the poison, let's talk about the 5 foods that can protect your prostate and reverse the damage. Number 5 on our countdown is a food that most men don't eat nearly enough of. Number 5, wild-caught salmon. This might not sound surprising, but what is surprising is how powerful wild-caught salmon is, specifically for prostate protection. The magic here lies in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, which are the most anti-inflammatory compounds found in nature. And inflammation is the root cause of virtually every prostate problem men face after age 60. A study published in The Lancet followed over 6,000 men and found that those who consumed wild-caught fatty fish like salmon at least 3 times per week had a 63% lower risk of developing aggressive prostate cancer compared to men who rarely ate fish. That's a massive reduction in risk from something as simple as changing what's on your dinner plate. But here's why wild-caught salmon is so effective. The omega-3s in salmon directly counteract the inflammatory damage caused by those oxidized vegetable oils we talked about. Researchers at the University of California, San Francisco discovered that omega-3 fatty acids reduce the production of inflammatory chemicals called prostaglandins that cause prostate tissue to swell and become enlarged. Another study in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that men who increased their omega-3 intake saw their prostate inflammation markers drop by 41% in just 8 weeks. Here's how to get the maximum prostate protection from salmon. Aim for 3 4-ounce servings per week of wild-caught salmon, not farm-raised, because wild salmon contains significantly higher levels of omega-3s and lower levels of contaminants. The best preparation methods are baking, grilling, or poaching, because these don't add inflammatory oils back into the equation. Avoid frying salmon in vegetable oil, which would completely defeat the purpose. If fresh wild-caught salmon isn't available or affordable, canned wild salmon is an excellent alternative and actually contains the same omega-3 levels as fresh. One important note: if you're taking blood-thinning medications, talk to your doctor before significantly increasing your omega-3 intake, because these fatty acids do have mild blood-thinning effects. For most men over 60, though, wild-caught salmon is one of the safest and most powerful prostate protectors you can add to your diet. But as effective as salmon is, the next food on our list offers even more targeted prostate benefits. Number 4, Brazil nuts. Most men have never even heard of Brazil nuts, let alone understand why they're so powerful for prostate health. But urologists who specialize in prostate cancer prevention consider them one of the most important foods a man over 60 can eat. The secret is selenium, a trace mineral that Brazil nuts contain in higher concentrations than any other food on Earth. Just one Brazil nut provides approximately 70 to 90 micrograms of selenium, which is more than the daily recommended amount. And selenium is absolutely critical for prostate health. A landmark study called the Nutritional Prevention of Cancer Trial followed over 1,300 men and found that those with the highest blood levels of selenium had a 63% lower risk of prostate cancer compared to those with the lowest levels. That's a remarkable protective effect. But here's what selenium actually does inside your prostate. Researchers at the University of Arizona discovered that selenium activates something called selenoproteins, which are specialized enzymes that protect prostate cells from oxidative damage. Remember those toxic lipid peroxides from vegetable oils? Selenoproteins neutralize them before they can damage your prostate DNA. Another study in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute found that men who consumed adequate selenium had significantly lower levels of prostate-specific antigen, or PSA, which is the blood marker used to detect prostate problems. Here's the proper way to use Brazil nuts for prostate protection. Eat just 2 Brazil nuts per day, not more, because too much selenium can actually become toxic. 2 nuts provide approximately 140 to 180 micrograms, which is the optimal range for prostate protection. You can eat them as a snack, chop them up, and add them to oatmeal or yogurt, or blend them into smoothies. The selenium in Brazil nuts is highly bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs it efficiently. One important caution, though: if you're already taking a selenium supplement, don't add Brazil nuts on top of that because you could exceed safe selenium levels. For most men who aren't supplementing, 2 Brazil nuts daily is a simple, inexpensive way to dramatically boost prostate protection. But powerful as Brazil nuts are, our next food offers benefits that extend beyond just cancer prevention. Number 3, tomatoes. Tomatoes have been studied extensively for prostate health, and the research is so strong that even conventional urologists now recommend them to their patients. The compound responsible for tomatoes' prostate-protecting power is lycopene, which is the red pigment that gives tomatoes their color. And lycopene is one of the most potent antioxidants ever studied for prostate health. A comprehensive review published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute analyzed 21 different studies involving over 11,000 men and concluded that those who consumed the most lycopene had a 35% lower risk of prostate cancer compared to those who consumed the least. But here's what makes lycopene so special for the prostate. Researchers at Harvard Medical School discovered that lycopene concentrates specifically in prostate tissue at levels higher than in any other organ in the body. It's as if nature designed lycopene to protect the prostate. Once it's in the prostate, lycopene neutralizes free radicals, reduces inflammation, and actually slows down the growth of prostate cells, which is critical because an enlarged prostate is what causes most urinary symptoms in older men. A study in cancer epidemiology, biomarkers, and prevention found that men who consumed cooked tomatoes at least 4 times per week had prostate volumes that were 20% smaller than men who rarely ate tomatoes. And here's the key to getting maximum lycopene from tomatoes: you have to cook them. Raw tomatoes contain lycopene, but it's bound up in the plant's cell walls and your body can't absorb much of it. But when you cook tomatoes, the heat breaks down those cell walls and releases the lycopene, making it up to 5 times more bioavailable. And if you add a healthy fat-like olive oil when cooking tomatoes, absorption increases even further because lycopene is fat-soluble. The best sources of bioavailable lycopene are tomato sauce, tomato paste, cooked crushed tomatoes, and even ketchup if it's made without high fructose corn syrup. Aim for at least 4 servings per week of cooked tomato products. A serving would be about half a cup of tomato sauce, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, or 1 cup of tomato soup. Many men find that adding tomato sauce to eggs, pasta, or grilled chicken is an easy way to get consistent lycopene intake. Yet as powerful as tomatoes are, they still rank below our next food when it comes to comprehensive prostate protection. Number 2, cruciferous vegetables. We're talking about broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and kale. And if you've been avoiding these vegetables because you don't like the taste, what I'm about to tell you might change your mind because the research on cruciferous vegetables and prostate health is absolutely extraordinary. These vegetables contain unique compounds called glucosinolates, which your body converts into sulforaphane and indole-3-carbinol, or I3C. And these compounds have been shown to not only prevent prostate problems, but actually reverse early prostate cell changes. A study published in the British Journal of Cancer followed over 1,500 men and found that those who ate cruciferous vegetables at least 3 times per week had a 41% lower risk of prostate cancer compared to men who rarely ate them. But here's what makes these vegetables so powerful. Researchers at Oregon State University discovered that sulforaphane from cruciferous vegetables literally changes how genes are expressed in prostate cells. It turns off genes that promote cancer growth and turns on genes that suppress tumors. This isn't just prevention. This is active intervention at the genetic level. Another study in the journal Carcinogenesis found that I3C from cruciferous vegetables helps the body eliminate excess estrogen, which is important because as men age, estrogen levels rise relative to testosterone, and elevated estrogen contributes to prostate enlargement. Men who consumed cruciferous vegetables regularly had 28% lower estrogen metabolites in their urine. Here's how to maximize the prostate benefits from cruciferous vegetables. Aim for at least 4 half-cup servings per week, and ideally more. Light steaming is the best cooking method because it preserves the glucosinolates while making the vegetables easier to digest. Avoid boiling them because the beneficial compounds leach into the water. Raw is also excellent if your digestion can handle it. Adding mustard powder or wasabi to cooked cruciferous vegetables actually boosts sulforaphane production because these condiments contain an enzyme that enhances the conversion. Broccoli sprouts are the most concentrated source of sulforaphane, containing up to 100 times more than mature broccoli, so adding a handful of sprouts to salads or sandwiches is incredibly beneficial. Yet as powerful as cruciferous vegetables are for prostate protection, they still rank second to a food that urologists now consider the single most important dietary addition for men over 60. Number 1, green tea. Here we are at the number 1 food on this list. And if you're not already drinking green tea daily, what I'm about to share with you could literally save your prostate and possibly your life. Green tea contains a group of compounds called catechins, with the most powerful being epigallocatechin gallate, or EGCG, which we mentioned earlier in this series. And EGCG has been studied more extensively for prostate cancer prevention than almost any other natural compound. A massive study published in the American Journal of Epidemiology followed over 49,000 Japanese men for 14 years and found something absolutely remarkable. Men who drank 5 or more cups of green tea daily had a 48% lower risk of developing advanced prostate cancer compared to men who drank less than 1 cup per day. That's nearly a 50% reduction in risk from something as simple as drinking tea. But the research gets even more impressive. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic conducted a clinical trial where they gave men with early-stage prostate abnormalities concentrated green tea extract for 1 year. At the end of the study, only 3% of the men in the green tea group developed prostate cancer compared to 30% in the placebo group. That's a 90% reduction in cancer progression. Here's what EGCG does inside your prostate that makes it so protective. Scientists at the University of Wisconsin discovered that EGCG blocks an enzyme called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, which is the hormone primarily responsible for prostate enlargement. It also inhibits the formation of new blood vessels that feed growing prostate tumors, essentially starving abnormal cells before they can become dangerous. Another study in cancer prevention research found that men who drank green tea regularly had significantly lower levels of PSA, and those who already had elevated PSA saw their levels drop by an average of 19% after just 12 weeks of daily green tea consumption. The proper way to prepare green tea for maximum prostate protection is critical. Use water that's about 170 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling, and steep for 3 to 5 minutes. This extracts the maximum amount of EGCG without releasing bitter tannins. Drink 3 to 5 cups per day, spread throughout the day, because the EGCG is cleared from your system relatively quickly and you want consistent levels. If caffeine is a concern, decaffeinated green tea still contains most of the beneficial catechins, as long as it was decaffeinated using the carbon dioxide method. Adding a squeeze of lemon increases EGCG absorption. And for men who find it difficult to drink multiple cups daily, high-quality green tea extract supplements standardized to contain at least 50% EGCG are an effective alternative. One important note: green tea can interact with certain blood thinners and some chemotherapy drugs, so if you're on medications, check with your doctor before consuming large amounts. For most men over 60, though, green tea is the single most powerful dietary tool for protecting your prostate from the poison of oxidized vegetable oils and reducing your risk of prostate problems by nearly half. And there you have it. The worst poison destroying your prostate, oxidized vegetable oils, and the 5 most powerful foods that can protect you. From wild-caught salmon's anti-inflammatory omega-3s to Brazil nuts' selenium protection, Cooked tomatoes, concentrated lycopene, cruciferous vegetables, gene-regulating sulforaphane, and green tea's extraordinary EGCG that can reduce prostate cancer risk by nearly 50%. The science is clear. What you eat directly determines the health of your prostate. Remember that consistency matters more than perfection. Start by eliminating the vegetable oils lurking in your diet, then add these 5 protective foods one at a time until they become regular habits. Your prostate has served you for decades, and now it needs your help. If you found this information valuable, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our upcoming videos on men's health solutions after 60. Thanks so much for watching.